There is a silent, ruthless destroyer of human intimacy that no one likes to talk about. It is a barrier that doesn't just push people away. It erodes the very foundation of your self-esteem. You wake up every morning with a sense of dread. You go straight to the bathroom. You brush for the mandated 2 minutes with mechanical precision. You floss until your gums bleed. You use a professional-grade tongue scraper until your taste buds are raw. And you finish with a minty mouthwash that stings like a chemical burn, leaving your mouth dry and tight. And yet, barely an hour later, as you sit in a meeting or lean in to kiss a loved one, that familiar, bitter weight returns to the back of your throat. That metallic, heavy, or foul taste that tells you the monster is back. Most people, and even many old-school medical practitioners, believe that bad breath is simply a failure of personal hygiene. They tell you that you are dirty. They suggest you brush harder, buy a more expensive vibrating toothbrush, or use a stronger, more caustic rinse. They treat it as a surface-level stain on your character. But I am here to tell you a different, more profound truth. For a significant portion of the population, specifically about 10% of chronic cases, that smell isn't coming from your teeth. It isn't coming from the food caught between your molars. It isn't even coming from your tongue. It is coming from your blood. It is a chemical signal, a distress flare, sent from your liver, your kidneys, or your entire metabolic system. It is a message that has seeped into your bloodstream, traveled through your veins, passed through the delicate membranes of the tiny air sacs in your lungs, and finally escaped with every single exhale you take. Today, we are looking past the bristles of the toothbrush. We are moving beyond the surface to explore the biological storm that is happening within your chest and abdomen. Because when the scent lingers despite excellent obsessive hygiene, your body isn't asking for more mint or more scrubbing. It is screaming for a medical diagnosis. It is telling you that something deep inside is out of balance. To understand why your breath has chosen to betray you, we must first dive into the microscopic world of the mouth and the chemistry of decay. We must talk about volatile sulfur compounds, or VSCs. In a healthy, balanced mouth, bacteria are kept in check by a constant flowing tide of oxygen-rich saliva. Saliva is your body's natural antibiotic. It is a living fluid that bathes your tissues and neutralizes waste. But when the environment shifts due to stress, dehydration, or internal illness, anaerobic bacteria, which thrive in oxygen-poor environments, begin a process called proteolysis. They aren't just eating the leftovers from your lunch. They are literally rotting the dead cells and proteins in your mouth. They break down amino acids like cysteine and methionine. And the byproduct of this microscopic feast is a group of gases that are offensive to the human nose. Imagine a piece of raw meat left in a dark, damp, airless cupboard in the heat of summer. Within hours, it begins to putrefy and release gases. Hydrogen sulfide, the unmistakable smell of a cracked, rotten egg. Methyl mercaptan, the pungent, heavy aroma of decomposing cabbage or stagnant swamp water. This is what we call local halitosis. It is a mechanical problem involving the accumulation of biofilm, and it usually requires a mechanical solution, like a deep cleaning from a dentist. But listen closely, because there is another, more haunting side to this story. This is where modern science, specifically the evidence gathered post-2020, separates itself from the outdated medicine of the mid-20th century. This is what I call the systemic storm. This is when these foul gases are not produced in the mouth at all. Instead, they are the waste products of failing internal processes. When your internal organs struggle to filter toxins, those toxins have to go somewhere. They stay in the blood. And because the lungs are designed to exchange gases between the blood and the outside world, your breath becomes the exhaust pipe for your internal organs. No amount of chewing gum, no matter how strong the peppermint, can mask a chemical produced by failing kidneys or a congested liver. It is like trying to put out a massive house fire by spraying a bottle of perfume on the front door. The scent might change for a second, but the fire is still raging inside the walls. Let's look at the human cost of this biological failure through the story of a man named Arthur. Arthur is a retired structural engineer, a man who has spent his entire life valuing precision, order, and cleanliness. He is the type of man who polishes his shoes every night and keeps his workspace immaculate. His morning hygiene ritual is nothing short of clinical. A high-end electric toothbrush, a water flosser used at maximum pressure, and a copper tongue scraper used with the accuracy of a draftsman. He does everything right. But for the last year, Arthur has felt a growing, invisible wall between him and the people he loves most. When he leans in to read a bedtime story to his 6-year-old granddaughter, he notices her head turn away, just a fraction of an inch, a subtle, involuntary wince that feels like a dagger to his heart. When he speaks to his wife in the quiet moments before sleep, he sees her subconsciously adjust the pillows, creating a barrier of fabric between their faces. He sees his colleagues at the community center take a half step back when he joins a conversation. Arthur is a man of logic, but this problem has driven him to a state of deep, eroding shame. He feels unclean in a way that soap cannot fix. He begins to carry a pack of extra-strength mints in every pocket. He drinks cup after cup of black coffee to hide the scent, not realizing that the high acidity of the coffee is actually drying out his mouth and providing a feast for the very bacteria he is trying to kill. The emotional cost is a slow, agonizing social erosion. Arthur stops going to his weekly bridge club. He speaks less and less at family dinners, eventually becoming a silent observer. He becomes a ghost in his own home, terrified that his very presence, his very breath, is an offensive act to those around him. Arthur thinks he is failing at basic hygiene. He blames himself for not being clean enough. But the truth is, Arthur doesn't have a dirty mouth. Arthur has late-onset type 2 diabetes that has gone undiagnosed. His body is failing to process glucose, and in its desperation for energy, it has begun to burn fat for fuel at an uncontrolled rate. This process creates metabolic byproducts called ketones. The smell that Arthur is exhaling isn't the smell of rot or poor brushing. It is a sickly chemical sweetness, a scent like fermenting apples mixed with nail polish remover. His breath was the first and loudest warning sign of a metabolic collapse, a distress signal from his pancreas and his blood. Yet he was too busy scraping his tongue to listen to what his lungs were trying to tell him. If you find that your breath is persistent, if it feels like a heavy cloud that no amount of brushing can disperse, you must stop being a victim of shame and start being a biological detective. You need to look at the Chan dung, or the portrait of the smell itself. Here's the protocol for decoding the hidden villain within. First, perform the lick test. This is the simplest way to isolate oral odors from systemic ones. Lick the back of your wrist. Wait exactly 10 seconds for it to dry slightly, and then smell it. If it smells like rotten eggs, you are dealing with hydrogen sulfide. This is an oral issue. You need to focus on the white coating at the very back of your tongue, a carpet of bacteria that lives where your toothbrush rarely reaches. If it smells like fecal matter or rotting cabbage, this is methyl mercaptan, a much more serious sign of periodontal disease. Your gums have developed deep pockets of infection that are literally rotting your jawbone. You don't need a new brush. You need a surgeon or a periodontist. Second, perform the dual path test. This is the moment of truth. Cover your mouth tightly with your hand and exhale sharply through your nose. Does the smell persist in the air? If the foul odor comes from both the nose and the mouth, the source is systemic. It is in your blood. It is coming from deep within your torso. Third, you must identify the chemical signature. If you smell an ammonia scent, sharp and urine-like, this is a clear sign of kidney distress. When the kidneys fail to filter nitrogenous waste, urea builds up in the blood and is secreted into the saliva, where it breaks down into ammonia. If you smell a musty, dead mouse scent, known in medicine as fetor hepaticus, this is the smell of the liver. It means your liver is struggling to process sulfur-containing amino acids, and the waste is being exhaled. If you smell a rotten fish scent, you may have a rare genetic or metabolic failure called trimethylaminuria, where the body lacks the enzyme to break down certain compounds found in eggs and legumes. And finally, a sour, acidic scent is almost always the result of GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Your stomach valve has become loose or floppy, allowing a microscopic mist of gastric acid and partially digested food to coat your esophagus, creating a scent that no mint can ever cover. When you finally go to see your doctor, do not simply say, "I have bad breath." That is a social complaint. Instead, use the language of biology. Say, "I have persistent non-oral halitosis that does not respond to mechanical hygiene. My breath has a specific ammonia, sweet, musty quality. I am requesting a full metabolic panel to check my liver and kidney function and my blood glucose levels." Force them to look beneath the surface. To truly bridge the gap between old medicine and modern longevity, we must also address the 3 hidden villains in your daily life that act as accelerants for these smells. Villain number 1, the nightly news and cortisol. We live in an age of constant stress. When you watch stressful news or scroll through social media at 11 p.m., your body enters a state of fight or flight. It floods your system with cortisol. One of the first things your body does to save energy in a crisis is to shut down non-essential functions, including saliva production. A dry mouth is a dying mouth. Without the protective wash of saliva, the stink bacteria have a 12-hour party while you sleep. Stop the stress before bed. Lower your cortisol to keep your natural defense, your saliva, flowing. Villain number 2, alcohol-based mouthwashes. It feels clean because it burns. You've been told that the burn means it's working, but alcohol is a powerful desiccant. It dries things out. It strips the protective mucus from your mouth and creates microscopic cracks in your tongue and cheeks, where bacteria can hide and multiply. You are essentially nuking your oral microbiome and leaving a wasteland behind. Switch Switch to an alcohol-free, pH-balanced rinse, or use a simple warm salt water gargle that supports the healing of the tissue rather than destroying it. Villain number 3. Mints and gums with sugar or aspartame. Most people use mints as a mask, but if that mint contains sugar, you are literally feeding the enemy. You are giving the bacteria the glucose they need to produce more acid and more sulfur. Even sugar-free mints with certain artificial sweeteners can disrupt the delicate balance of your oral pH. If you must use a mint, look for those containing xylitol. Xylitol is a miracle of nature. It has a molecular structure that bacteria cannot ferment. They try to eat it, they fail, and they essentially starve to death. In conclusion, your breath is not an enemy to be conquered with harsh chemicals and aggressive scrubbing. It is a biological report card. It is a mirror reflecting the state of your internal organs, your stress levels, and your metabolic health. Stop the cycle of shame. Stop the social withdrawal. Arthur eventually found his answer, and once he managed his blood sugar, the wall between him and his family vanished. The invisible wall is not permanent. Listen to the chemistry of your body, decode the signals. Because once you understand the true source of the storm, you can clear the air. You can step back into the light, lean in close to the people you love, and speak your truth without fear. You deserve to be heard, and you deserve to be healthy from the inside out. This is the path to graceful aging. Not just looking good on the outside, but being pure and balanced on the inside. Take a deep breath. Now, truly listen to what it is telling you.